Well, hi there. It is April 5th, sometime in the morning, I think, about 11 o'clock. In any case, this is what happens when you've made the conscious decision not to record a video and you find yourself suddenly compelled to go ahead and attach a video to something you've written. So for the most part, it's going to be stream of consciousness. So I beg you to bear with me. Hopefully something good will come out of the recording. I know that the written blog is solid because I've gone over it enough times to be relatively certain of that. But it started out as a rant after a visit to a doctor's office, one of my ologists, not one of my Cedars Sinai or City of Hope doctors, but one of my regular doctors, one of my long-term doctors, pre-bone marrow cancer, pre-transplant. And it has to do with unrealized expectations and the realization that those expectations had gone unrealized, and the disappointment that accompanied all of that. I went to the doctor to have something assessed and to have a prescription refilled for that particular problem. And as I wrote in the blog piece, I've been going to that doctor for a very long time and watched that office grow substantially over time to the point where there are now physician's assistants and nurse practitioners involved in the office. And you don't always see the doctor, which is okay because you don't always have to see the doctor by virtue of the nature of the practice. It is. I guess in the spirit of full disclosure, I should note that I've always been fascinated with two businesses other than the automotive service industry, the automotive repair business, the repair community. One of them are restaurants. And if you know me, you know I'm always fascinated by the way restaurants work because of the similarities involved between a restaurant that runs well and a shop that runs well, and medical offices, by virtue of the nature of all of the different specialties and specialists that are involved in both, and how well orchestrated they have to be for the end result, to turn out well. In this particular case, it didn't turn out well. I went to see the doctor. I saw a nurse practitioner, a physician's assistant, actually, which is one step above a nurse practitioner. And she walked in the room, looked at my chart, looked at me, asked me why I was there. I told her. She asked me and this is almost like a Groucho Marx routine. She asked me if I'd ever had this condition before, which was in the chart. I said yes. And she looked at me, smiled, and says, "Well, I guess you got it again," and wrote out the prescription and left. That was the last time I saw her. So I never got an assessment. I never had anybody look at this condition. Now, I'm sure the assumption was that the prescription would take care of it. But I've had enough weird things happen to me over the past few years not to be satisfied with that. So my expectations went unsatisfied, went unrealized, went unmet. And it got me to thinking a lot about one, being a service provider, whether a restaurateur or a doctor or an automotive repair shop owner, and how important it is to recognize what expectations your clients, your customers, your patients bring with them when they come to you, and how important it is to make sure that they're at least met, if not exceeded, in order for you to be successful. But it also got me to think about the importance of recognizing what your expectations are as an individual, so that you know when they're being met and when they're not being met. You know when they're being exceeded, so that you can, you exhibit an appropriate amount of joy. or when they're not, so you can articulate your disappointment. Now, it really doesn't matter which you are, whether you're a service provider, a restaurateur, a doctor, a shop owner, any kind of small business owner for that matter, or your customer or client. Expectations, realized and unrealized, met and unmet, exceeded and not exceeded, are all critical to satisfaction. And satisfaction is critical to value and the perception of value. And it's important for us to recognize that so we know where we are as both service providers and as the the recipient of service. In the case of my doctor, it wasn't there. And when I go to see the doctor again for a scheduled appointment, I'll make sure that I tell her that. Because I really believe with a perfect faith that if you feel that you have the right to complain when things don't go well, and I believe that we all do, you also have the responsibility to praise somebody when things go well. So in this case, I won't be praising anybody because things didn't go well. But if you're a shop owner and you're watching this, the question you have to ask yourself is, do you know and understand what it is your customers want, need, and expect from you when they bring their vehicles in for service, maintenance, or repair? And that they may be different for any one of those three different areas of service. And do you understand what you need to do in order to meet or exceed those expectations? What everyone in your company needs to do, and how important it is for you as a leader to ensure that they understand what their contribution means to the overall success of the company, up and down the organizational chart. So if you don't own a business, if you're not a doctor, if you're not a restaurateur, then you're certainly a client. You're a customer, a patient. And it's critical that you understand what your responsibility is as a purveyor of service, so that you'll be able to judge whether or not things are working the way you need them to. And if you are a service provider, you certainly need to understand what that's all about, because your success or failure depends on it, ultimately. And it'll affect your bottom line directly, and it's especially true during a pandemic when everybody's anxieties, start bubbling to the surface. So you can take a look at the blog. It's at mitchschneidersworld.com. I provided a link to it. And you can take a look at this video and see what that's all about. I'd be really interested in your comments and any questions that you might have. Certainly would be interested in any experiences that you've had that are similar to the ones that I had, where your expectations have gone unmet or unexceeded, or you've been satisfied. So let me know. In the meantime, stay well, take care, stay focused, stay safe, stay home, get well, get vaccinated. We're close, oh so close to having our lives back again.